Hello, hello, hello. It's Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Success Bully. Success Bully is an elite accountability practice, so that makes me your personal professional butt kicker. Happy Monday. My friends and I have a running joke about it's Money Monday. And so we always try our best to get a new piece of business on Monday because that kicks off the rest of the week, y'all. So I hope that it's Money Monday for you as well and that you are closing new deals, courting new clients, and you have a lot of new exciting things happening in your business. And so, welcome. I appreciate you joining us for this live stream. I appreciate you participating in this community. And more importantly, I appreciate you scaling your business, whether you are a side hustler or an emerging entrepreneur, or you're a more established entrepreneur and you're looking to hit that $1 million range, right? $1 million plus range. And so I want to celebrate you and appreciate you because we need more businesses. Your work is needed. Your work is needed. Your contribution to the world is needed. Your insight is needed. Your magic is needed. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who has stepped out of their comfort zone because it can be a little scary to start, to continue to grow, to impact your businesses. And so I just want to I just want to take a moment to just thank you. I want to thank my team and just like really acknowledge that this could be your breakthrough year. This could be your breakthrough year. This could be the year that changes everything in your business. So let's make that decision right now that this is the year. This is the year that we're going to do something different so we can experience something different. We're going to take action. We're going to take inspired action, right? Because we want something different. So we're going to do something different. Okay. And so I am just so excited. I'm coming off a Vegas trip with my family. I went with friends and my sister, and then we show up in Vegas, and my other sister and my sister-in-law are there. We're like, what? So we're coming off this great weekend of family and friend time. So and I didn't touch my laptop. I didn't answer a single work email, work text message the whole weekend. And so it's been a while since I just took time like that. So I'm really excited about that. So that's not what we're here to talk about, my vacation stuff. We're here to talk about our theme this month has is falling more in love with your side hustle. Uh and so I don't know if I've shared this all with you. I'm pretty sure I have. But when I started Success Bully, it was a side hustle. It was very part-time, and it was one of those things where it was like it was lightning in a bottle. It continued to grow. The more intentional I got, the bigger and better the business got, and I was able to transition out of corporate, right? And so, especially now when we're every time I feel like there's this perpetual news cycle about these big organizations doing these mass layoffs or multiple waves of layoffs. And I don't know about you, but I would rather be in the first round of layoffs than be left holding the bag and stressed about when I was going to get laid off in the next couple rounds. But that's neither here nor there. That there's going to be a lot of talent on the market right now. There are going to be people that it's going to take a while to recover from a layoff, especially when it's so many within the same industry that are being let go. There's this a lot of talent out there, and so if there's ever if you've been looking for a sign, if you've been looking for a sign to start a side hustle, scale a side hustle, start a coaching practice or consultancy. This is the time, y'all. This is the time. This is the time. If you already have a business that you've been working in addition to your corporate career, now is the time to really pour into it. All right. And I'm not saying work more. What I'm saying is to be more intentional. Be more intentional and be more consistent. And so I feel like today, I've been on a lot of calls. I started my week off with a lot of calls, and a recurring theme kept coming up, I think it's totally applicable because I feel it too. I feel it too, y'all. Like, what do you do when you lose your motivation for your business? When you're just unmotivated, you may be frustrated, maybe you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe you're stuck in analysis paralysis where you're overthinking your next step and then you just don't move rather than make the wrong move. Um, or, you may be in that space where you're so busy in the business that you're not actually growing the business, or that you're responding to your client needs and not bringing on bigger and better projects, or maybe you've taken on some things that you may not have priced it appropriately, and so now you're feeling really frustrated and overworked and undervalued. So what happens when you lose your motivation? What happens to when you lose your motivation? How do you get it back? Right? How do you get it back? So the first thing I want us all to acknowledge, I'm gonna lean in for this one. We are all delightfully human. And having ups and downs in our motivation is part of the human experience. You could be a high performing, high achieving individual and suffer from moments where there are dips in your motivation. Like, motivation is not linear, it's not necessarily even keel. Because, I think when you start something new, you have this high spike of motivation. You get into the weeds of it and that habit formation, and it gets a little tough. Your motivation might dip. You get a big win, your motivation spikes again. Then you're in the grind of it all, or you're kind of in that little hamster wheel of activity, and your motivation dips. Or you maybe you have a setback. Maybe you have a setback, and that motivation kind of. So there's like peaks and valleys, uh, dips and slides. It's more like we don't necessarily want it to be a roller coaster, right? But I do want you to accept the fact that you are not going to be 100% motivated 100% of the time, right? And I think that when you are a side hustler or an emerging entrepreneur, or if you're just new to business, that there is this thing called the entrepreneurial trough of despair, where you're questioning, what have I done? Why am that we'll never get any new clients, and it's just despair, 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 despair. And so I think that the longer you stay in business, the time in the trough gets shorter, the trough gets a little more shallow. You have some fortitude where you know that you can go from a very, very high to a very low in a matter of 90 seconds or less in your business. And so it's one of those things where we just have to acknowledge that our motivation is going to change. It's going to be dynamic, and there are going to be days where you got it. You are highly motivated. You are deeply committed, and then life starts life. Right? There's something out of your scope of control that can throw you off your game. Right? Or you might be feeling some level of frustration because, and this happens to a lot of my emerging entrepreneurs and side hustlers, you're planting seeds, you're doing all the things, and nothing is happening. Or you're doing the things, but you're not doing enough of the things to see a return. You're not reaching out to enough people that align with your ideal client to get enough consultation calls to get those new clients, or you're not getting in front of those companies that you want to work with, those ideal clients that you want to work with. So you haven't had those client meetings where you can put together a proposal, submit it, follow up, and go to contract. You haven't been doing enough. And so it can be very frustrating when you're planting and you don't see the results. You don't see it right away. So I want to assure you, your business is always 90 days ahead of you. It's always 90 days ahead of you. So if you are feeling that funk right now where you don't see it, you've been working your tuchus off, you don't see it, you don't see it, you don't see it, you don't see it, you don't see it. Just know it's coming. Please don't give up. Stay in it. All right. Let me get myself back on track. I got really excited. It's Money Monday, y'all. So let's say your motivation, you're in a dip right now. Your motivation is low. And sometimes you don't have it. Sometimes you don't have it. I know that around 3:45 on Thursday, I have an incredible dip in motivation because I front load my week. By the time I get to the end of the week, I'm tired. And so fatigue has a lot to do with my motivation. And so I have to understand that and embrace it. So what so you're in a dip right now. You're not feeling motivated. You're not feeling like reaching out to nobody. You don't feel like posting on social media. You don't feel like hosting a webinar. You don't feel like doing none of the stuff that moves your business forward. You don't feel like it. You don't got it. You don't have the motivation. You can't. You don't have it. So one thing that I would suggest if you're feeling really low on motivation is to reconnect with your why. Reconnect with your why. Because like you didn't start this business just for fun. You didn't start this business because you were bored. You didn't start, some of us have started businesses out of necessity. Some of us have started businesses out of the impact we want to make in the world, the lives we want to change, the financial freedom and flexibility we're looking for, or controlling our own destiny. What is your purpose and your mission for your business? Why? Why did you start this? Who will it impact and how will it impact them? Besides your clients, whatever change you're going to help your clients make, whether that's from a coaching or consulting perspective, who you're going to work with, how you're going to impact them. How is it going to impact you personally? How is it going to impact your family when you can be home to meet your kids at the school bus? When you can work from anywhere, when you can hop on a flight and be on an island and continue working, and you didn't have to ask anybody for the time off or worry about you're working remote and somebody putting something on your calendar while you're in the airport. That's, that's spoken from experience. So reconnect with that why. Why did you even want to do this? Why was this important to you? Why? Because there's a deeper why. There's a little why, which might be I want to make more money and have control. And then there's the bigger why. How does this impact the larger world around us? How does this impact what kind of ripple effect are you going to leave on humanity? Right? So let's reconnect with that why. And so reconnect with the why. The second thing, and I kind of touched on this because I didn't follow my outline at all. If you notice, there's 3 R's to this because I love that kind of stuff, groupings and alliterations and rhymes. Remember the garden. Remember the garden that we work on a planting and harvesting model. When you have a corporate job, you're not always privy to the planting and harvesting because that's somebody else's responsibility, right? So you own a piece of a larger puzzle. Whereas in your own space, you own it end to end. And so rather than seeing just a little piece of the puzzle, you are responsible for business development, marketing, execution, client acquisition, execution, operations, finance. It's all under your umbrella for now. You will have other people that will support you on that. But when we think about our business like a garden, it's a planting and harvesting model. And so we have to plant those seeds consistently to harvest them. You don't go get some apple seeds and go outside, plant it in the backyard, and then expect to be eating ripe, delicious apples in 2 to 3 days' time. it's more involved in that. Now I think an apple might be, but maybe it's like bell peppers. Bell peppers take about 90 days. Maybe watermelons. I think an apple tree might take you a little more time. But like it takes time and care and follow up and paying attention and being intentional with your actions before you actually see the results. Right? And I think it takes longer than most people expect. And I think that when you lose your motivation and you stop working altogether. Now remember I said earlier your business is 90 days ahead of you. When you come to a screeching halt and you decide you get yourself together, you decide to get back to it, remember you have started that clock on 90 days all over again. And so that's why I say start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. You're doing yourself a disservice because you keep delaying your results for another 90 days. So every time you stop, it's going to take you from when you re-engage with your business, it's going to take you 90 days for your business to catch up to you or for you to catch up to the business, right? And so remember that. Remember, it's a garden. And so we have to constantly care for it, right? And even if you do little bitty bites, little bit, even if you just go out and pull a couple weeds a day, that's better than doing nothing for days and days and days on end, right? And I also think it's important that we focus on what we control. I think some things that can get you all knotted up when you, especially when you're a side hustler or a emerging entrepreneur, what can get you all knotted up is that you're looking for support. You're looking for people to pay attention to you. You're looking for people to connect with you and to work with you, and everything feels like it's out of your scope of control. And to an extent, we don't control when people say yes to us. We control our actions that create the opportunity for the yes. So you control your outreach, you control your follow up, you control showing up prepared and engaged for your consultation calls. You control your making sure that when you send over a proposal, there are no spelling errors in it. You control that you are answering that RFP in a professional and succinct manner. You control showing up on time for that meeting. You control those things. You control if you're doing a speaking engagement, you control looking polished. You control your rehearsal time. You control how you show up in that room. So focus on what you can control. And like I tell my clients all the time, you control knocking over that first domino, right? You control knocking over the first domino that starts the conversation. And if you aren't knocking over that first domino with enough consistency, you're not having conversations, you're not having consultations, you're not getting to proposals, you're not getting an opportunity to create a proposal, you're not getting an opportunity to close the deal. Right? So we have to really focus on that first domino. That's within our scope of control. Like I don't stress about rejection. It doesn't bother me because I am controlling what I control and I'm focusing on knocking over that first domino. I'm so involved with what I'm working on that I don't even have the time to pout because somebody said no to me. I'm on to the next thing. I'm like, you didn't, okay, good luck. Generally speaking, this is lean in for this one. This is insider stuff here. Generally speaking, from a coaching perspective, when people like avoid me, don't respond, like you have a great consultation call and they just ghost you. Generally speaking, if and when they circle back around, they pop back up on my calendar a year from now, they'll be right where I left them. And that's true for like corporate proposals I've put together. Put the proposal together, get it over to them, do the dog and pony show, do the, and then everybody goes dark. They right where I left. That's just a fun fact for you. So don't get all twisted up when you don't hear back from people, or you get a no, or you don't even get a no. You get no response. They'll be right where you left them. I said it. And so like I said, so if you're trying to get your motivation back, reconnect with your why, remember the garden. You're not doing anything wrong if you're not seeing the results right now. It's planting and harvesting. And then finally, this is one of my favorite things. And this is why I smell like a rich auntie today. Reclaim victory. What do I mean by that? Sometimes I think, and this is hard for hyperachievers because like we we get a win and we move on very quickly. We're on to the next win and we're on this achievement hamster wheel. And so we don't actually celebrate anything. I also think we wait, either we don't celebrate anything or we wait for these big victories before we celebrate rather than celebrating uh, the activity that leads to the big win. And so here's what I mean. Generally speaking, it takes about 100 leads to get one new client. So look at your numbers. That's just a top tip right there. That's free, y'all. And so rather than waiting to celebrate getting a new client, that's the only time you celebrate. Celebrate when you've connected with 100 of your ideal client prospective clients. Celebrate when you hit 100 of those. And if you do that in a week, you on to something. But you know what I mean? Like celebrate the action. Celebrate having so many consultation calls about. Celebrate consistently posting on your social media. Celebrate the follow-up that you may have done. Celebrate those things. Like give yourself little mini quotas. Celebrate, when you've texted so many people. Celebrate when you've extended so many invitations. Celebrate the activities and as opposed to just the wins. Because sometimes it could be a stretch between wins, especially if you're doing corporate work, if you're a consultant, you could, maybe you get 2 clients a quarter. That's a big stretch between, new clients, or maybe it's two clients every 6 months. That's a big stretch of time between celebrations. And so reclaim that victory. Because I think it's so much easier to stay motivated when you're excited, and celebrations breed excitement. When was the last time you went to a party and you had no excitement? When was the last time you went to a surprise party and it wasn't fun? Right? So like one way I reclaimed some victory. I was really excited about the way I showed up last week. So I invested in a new fragrance. It's Tom Ford, was it Chantel blush? And I smell like a rich auntie. I told the women when I walked in the store, what says wealth and abundance? I want to smell like a rich auntie. And that was a victory present to myself for hitting my activity goals. We happened to get a new client. That's great. That's great. But we wouldn't have hit those, we wouldn't have gotten new clients if we hadn't done the activities. So I just want to 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 encourage you not to wait until you have that big contract before you acknowledge yourself as an entrepreneur. Don't wait until you are 40 under 40, nominated for 40 under 40 by your local business journal to celebrate that you are a CEO and you're building a business and you are building an empire. Don't wait until you have all this outward acknowledgement to celebrate how far you come. to celebrate the action, to celebrate that you daily are committing to your dreams. You're committing to your goals, and you are committing to making an impact. So, just to recap, if you have lost your motivation, or you're in one of those dips, it's not completely gone, it's you just low motivation. You're low motivation, or you're middle motivation. You're not at your highest level of motivation. You're just kind of meh with your motivation. Reconnect to your why. Remember the garden. Control what you can control. Get out there and plant. We were talking about this earlier today. You all, as a business owner, you have a money tree growing in your backyard. You have your personal money tree. You have a money tree, and it is lush, it is green, and there is money growing from it. And all you got to do is go shake the money tree. Go shake your money tree. That's in your scope of control. And finally, reclaim that victory. Celebrate the activities, not just the outcomes. Don't wait for these big moments in time to acknowledge that you are a badass CEO. Don't wait until you've hit some big revenue target to celebrate. Celebrate when you have followed up on all of your outstanding proposals. Celebrate that. Celebrate that when you hit a new record in terms of consultation calls. Celebrate that. That's worth noting. So, I cannot leave this live stream without telling you a couple things. Number one, we have enhanced our flagship group coaching program called the Exit Strategy Academy. And I want you to hear me on this. If there's ever a time to get the support on scaling your part-time coaching or consulting business, let's not wait. Let's not wait until we're on hold with the unemployment with the unemployment department begging for our unemployment benefits. Let's not wait till then to get serious about our side hustles. We have put together a year-long coaching program. We've reopened the doors where we will mentor you on what it takes to consistently get those clients, get to those 5-figure months, so you have the option of transitioning out of corporate. You have the option. You have the skill set, you have know-how, you have the clarity, you have the game plan. So if you want to hear more about the Exit Strategy Academy, I want to encourage you to reach out. You can connect with Lucille, who is all things wonderful. Lucille, you can connect with Lucille, or you can jump right on my calendar and book a strategy session where we can talk about what's going on. We can pop the hood on your business. We can talk about what's going on, and I can give you some insights and tell you how we work and what we do here at Success Bully. So if you want to learn more about how we support our emerging entrepreneurs with scaling, feel free to grab some time at successbully.com/call. Once again, I am Keita Williams, and I am the founder and chief strategist of Success Bully. Let's get after it.